Welcome to Hearts and Stripes, your one-stop shop for all things military marriage. I hope our discussions and interviews equip you with the tools to start or grow a beautiful marriage as we address the benefits and challenges of marriage. I believe life's most precious moments are worth celebrating, so I'll help you design your marriage blueprint in alignment with your core values. Thank you for joining us, and remember to rate, subscribe, and review. Let's do this. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hearts and Stripes podcast. This is your host, Bree Carroll, and I am thrilled to be with you for another Heart to Heart. So we are kicking off this episode, giving a big welcome. If this is your first time listening to Hearts and Stripes, we are thrilled that you are here. And what you need to know about Hearts and Stripes podcast is that we are all about strengthening military marriages. You'll hear interviews, you'll get some tools for your toolbox, some advice, and even resources that we'll be sharing right here on the podcast. So this episode is actually brought to you by our militarymarriageday.com resource hub. So you're going to want to head over to militarymarriageday.com. I told you this podcast is all about equipping you with the resources so that you can start and grow a healthy military marriage. And at militarymarriageday.com, you can now have access to new resources and different resources that maybe be off installation, but can really help you and support you in your relationship. Maybe you are a resource provider and you serve our military couples in this area of marriage. Go on that site, register, sign up so that you can also be listed on the hub so that more of our service couples can find you. So we are going to dive into this heart to heart, which will be short and sweet because it is Friendcation weekend for me. So you're hearing this at a time when Friendcation will be over, but Friendcation for us is simply a time when all of our couples that we met in this little place called Del Rio, Texas, come together and just enjoy life with one another. So I'm really happy, one, to be doing something in person with other people. And I am really excited just to see us grow over time. So when we started off, we were just in Del Rio, Texas, and I'll jump into like my personal Del Rio, Texas story and how Friendcation kind of evolved. But looking at where we started to where we are now, it's drastically different. We grow, we change, we learn, and we evolve over time. And it's awesome that we are able to support one another in this time. And Friendcation happens to be like the event when we come together and we just check in and have a great weekend together. It's a family weekend, but we're definitely planning some like straight up grown up time. But let me dive into my Del Rio story so that you can kind of understand kind of how this all came to be. So right out of graduation from North Carolina A&T, I actually took on the position as a palace acquirer for the Air Force. So that was the opportunity for me to work as a GS employee in engineering. And my location that picked me up happened to be Del Rio, Texas, or Laughlin Air Force Base. So shout out to Laughlin. This base always has a special place in my heart because that was one where I started my engineering career, but two, because that is where I met a lot of the friends and people that we have Friendcation with now. And so as a GS, I actually was involved in the community and really enjoyed that time frame in that space, even though Del Rio was super small and didn't have a lot of what big cities would have, right? So that's another topic for another podcast. But let me tell you, when you plug into the culture and the community, you really can transform the experience that you have in a location. I won't go on my soapbox on that. But in Del Rio, Texas, that is where I actually met my husband, or husband to be at the time, Donovan. And he was actually going through UPT, or pilot training. And that is really where we met all of our other couples that we stay in contact with now. They were going through a similar tough experience of going through this rigorous training program. And that is how they banded together and found community. And we kept supporting one another in that small little area, having like little family dinners and stuff. And as we all went to our different duty stations, as life would have it, everybody didn't necessarily complete the pilot training program, so they went to different career fields and things. We still stayed together because that space, that location was very special. So that kind of brings me to my first point for this episode, which is hold on to your day ones. So hold on to your day one. So at Del Rio, that's where we found our couples, people who are willing to support us and encourage us. And we were going through similar things. And the nice thing about holding on to day ones is you have an opportunity to look at each other from where we started, because a lot of us, we were like newly married, trying to figure out what marriage was, they were starting out their flying careers, they were starting out in the Air Force. So really, we were all in like figure it out mode. And I like the opportunity to hold on to our day ones because we get to see the evolution of the person, of the couple, as we continue to go on with life. And it's so kind of rewarding to just look and see how a person has evolved over time, and you get to cheer them on along the way. We actually attended a change of command this past week, and one of the things that I really took away from that, and I'll probably actually share it in another episode, was just how in those promotions and change of commands, you hear the story of all the people that supported them. And some of the people that they typically know are people that they met really early on in their journey that have kind of stuck with them along the way. Well, this particular group that we're having Friendcation with, I definitely feel like will be in speeches to come, right? If we stick through this military journey, these will be the people that my husband is calling out, and that I'm calling out and acknowledging, that has stuck with us along the way as we go through this military lifestyle. So I encourage you, as point one for this episode, to hold on to your day ones. The second thing that I would say for this episode, as we are strengthening military marriages, is that you have to have real talk. Real talk is a requirement when it comes to strengthening your military marriages and having other people that you can have real talk with. So the reason why I love my Friendcation group is because a lot of those conversations that we were having in little old Del Rio, Texas, those was real. Like, they thought they were going to wash out like every other day. We were talking about it last night, actually. Every other day they thought they were going to have to switch career fields and do something different. We had real talk about relationships. We had real talk about our hopes and dreams and what we can do and can't do. Like, these are the people that you are able to have these real conversations with. And by all means, if you hear little people in the background, it's because it's Friendcation weekend, so you might just hear a little extra in the background today because it's about to get live. Really having real talk is crucial. And one of the things that we even talked about when I talk about the evolution of a person is one of the people that are here that'll be joining us for Friendcation. Well, when we met them, their spouse and them were together. They have since divorced and separated, and we've seen them evolve together as a couple. One of the things that, as we walk through that with her, and actually I'm actually, this is going to be a celebratory weekend because that was a tough separation, but I'm so excited for the season that she's in her life now. She's newly engaged, just bought a house, so it's exciting to cheer her on throughout that journey, even though their marriage, the original marriage relationship that she was in, that we met them with, did not continue. I'm happy to celebrate and support the person. But one of the things that came out of, as we were walking with them through that season, is we realized that her spouse at the time had kind of disconnected from the group and was not having real talk. He was not being transparent about his thoughts, his feelings, and going to the group of people that could have helped him think through, work through, talk through some of the things that became big issues in their relationships and ultimately caused them to separate. So I highly encourage you to have some real conversations in your relationships. Have real talk about sex, about intimacy. Have real talk about TDYs and deployments. Have real talk about what we're seeing in our world right now with your spouse and how that makes you feel, and ask how they feel about it and what it means to them to serve. Having real talk in your marriage relationship is so important because, we say communicate a lot when it comes to marriage, but you have to be very specific of what that means. And I think going deep and taking opportunities to go deep and ask questions and just listen to one another really uncovers some things that give opportunity for exposure and healing and understanding that is really needed in the marriage relationship. So point number 1, hold on to your day ones. Point number 2, you have to have real talk in your military marriage. And point number 3, it ties into both of these, which is guard who is close to you. Guard who is close to you. So the t-shirts that we are actually going to be wearing for Friendcation, and it's actually the title of this episode, is Mi Familia. Mi Familia is the motto, if you will, for the weekend, because we have guarded these seats in each other's lives to hold space for these particular individuals. Everybody does not get a pass. Everybody does not get a front row seat to my marriage relationship, to our service that we hold, because there's a certain amount of discretion, there's a certain amount of trust that you have to put into people, and just letting anybody hold space or have that front row seat to your life, to your relationship, to how you serve, everybody can't sit in that chair. You have to be selective about that. And I would say guard those seats. And what I mean by that is, so most of the people that are in those seats are also in relationships. They are other married couples. And the reason why this is important is because if you maybe have someone who is a single friend, and not to say all, but some of those who are singles have a very different mentality about what they can do, how they're going to carry themselves. And that may cause conflict in your marriage. Be aware of that. That does not mean that one of the people in your front row is not married. I mean, you could definitely have singles in your relationship, sitting in the front row that are cheering for your relationship. And I actually love having people like that sit and can see, because our relationship becomes inspirational to them. So they are rooting for our relationship, and they are excited to see us grow and flourish, because that is maybe something that they want for themselves. So they're taking notes, and they may be a couple of steps behind us, career wise or life experience wise, but they're still cool to have in my front row because of the position that they play. So I am just encourage you to be aware of the people that you hold close to your relationship. Be critical of who you're calling Mi Familia, right? Like, we all have these shirts. We are one big family, not blood related, but we consider one another to be family, and we hold that with high esteem. Everybody can't rock with us. Everybody can't have a Mi Familia shirt, okay? But something else that I want to point out with that is just, it makes me think back to like when we were growing up. I don't know about you, but growing up, it seemed like when you became friends with somebody, everybody was your cousin. Like, you my cousin, they did my cousin, everybody cousin. Yeah, we probably weren't really related, but people like to throw that around a lot to show that they were in some type of community with one another. And I get it. I think we should just really be cautious about what communities we do choose to be in. Is it adding to our families, to our relationships? Is it helping us grow as individuals? What are the communities that we're putting ourselves in? How does that impact us? That is something that I want to challenge you with thinking of, not to discourage you from getting in community, because I mean, you go back to the first one, you want to hold on to those day ones and the people that you meet along the way. But I do notice that some communities can hinder or hurt your marriage relationship. So be very cautious of who you're putting yourself in community with, which is why I'm saying to guard those seats, guard those front row seats to your marriage and to your service life, because discretion is real. And we need to ensure that we're not allowing people to speak into our relationship or give us advice, and they don't have context. They aren't wise counsel. So it's just something that I really want y'all to caution yourself with, because I've seen in another service relationship, another group of friend of ours that actually they ended up in divorce. The young lady actually got in community with a group of spouses who were not healthy for her or for her marriage relationship. She started to model some of the actions and behaviors that they were doing, and it led down a very slippery slope of infidelity and other issues that ultimately caused the relationship to fail. So I just want you to be cautious about the community and the company that you keep, and let you know that just because people out here calling you cousin, yeah, we the same, we relate, we cousin. No, you're not. Guard the seats that are going to be, and those that'll be close to you that are able to speak into your marriage relationship. And everyone cannot rock the Mi Familia shirt. So I hope you enjoyed this short episode, giving you a couple of tips using this experience that we are going to have this weekend for Friendcation. I'm going to be sharing some pictures and things on Instagram so that you can see how we've all gotten together, how we all cheer one another on, support one another. And we are excited for our friend circle to continue to do this. And I hope that it inspires you maybe to think about other couples and other people that you hold close that support you, that support your marriage relationship. Maybe this may encourage you to plan something where everybody can get together and have a great time. Okay, so that is it. I am wrapping up this episode because I gotta go. My little people are in the background. They are ready to put on their Mi Familia shirts and have a party with their little friends. So we are going to wrap up here. Remember, we are here every Monday dropping a new episode to help you walk this military marriage journey feeling like you are equipped and that you are ready. If you have any questions, slide in my DMs. If I don't know the answer, I'll definitely point you in the right direction, and hopefully even point you to someone who is on that militarymarriageday.com resource hub. So y'all, thank you for joining me for another episode of Hearts and Stripes. I can't wait to chat with y'all soon. The heart track for this episode, shout out to all my day ones. That's the name of the track, Day Ones. And the song is by Above Envy, I believe. I'm going to try to put that on the playlist that we all go to. That's Heart Tracks 2. Heart Tracks 2 on Spotify. That's where you can find all of our songs that remind you of past episodes. So Day Ones is the song. If we cannot get you the link on Spotify, I will definitely show you where it is on YouTube. And shout out to all my day ones out there. I love y'all. I'm actually about to come and kick it with y'all because I hear them having a great time in the background. So I gotta go. It's Friendcation. I'll see y'all later. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to rate, subscribe, and review. This is Hearts and Stripes. We are the few, the proud, that aim high and are forged by love. Always ready, always there. We are Mill Marriage Strong.